Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hoops and Hurdles. This is 2023, and your girl is back, Teresa Mack. How y'all doing? I hope y'all having an amazing 2023. I am coming with a special guest. Her name is Kavana Johnson. And when I heard her story last week, I was like, yeah, it's time for you to tell your story. It's her story, but God is going to get the glory. So, hi, Miss Kavana.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good, good. So tell us a little about yourself. I know about you because what we've been knowing each other for like what 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, about that long, yeah.
So tell people about yourself. Tell us a little something about you.
Well, I'm originally from Palm Springs, California. I was born and raised. I moved to Texas in '99 to West Texas, a town called San Angelo. And I was there and I raised my son there. I have one son. He just turned 30 in August. And my sister decided to move to Austin. And she was here about maybe 3 years prior to us moving here. And 2015, I said, you know what? I think I'm going to move to Austin. I said, Austin is the new California, so I'm liking the vibe of Austin. So in 2015, me and my son came in October 2015. And my parents, my mom and my stepdad, came in July of 2015. And I have one brother that's back still in California, and
Mhm.
I have my sister. I live with her. We share an apartment together. I have one son and one cat and one grand dog from him.
Not
My
the cat
son,
and dog.
yeah, one cat. I'm the auntie of the cat because it used to be my parents' cat, and I'm one grandparent to the doggy. So,
So you
don't
kind
have,
of you kind of moved here about the same time. Now a
yeah.
job brought me here. I didn't think about it being like California, but
Hmm.
a job brought me here.
Yeah.
Kind of like Austin though. You got a mixture of everything.
Everything, just like California, you got a mixture of everything. And my family is from Texas. We are the only ones is from the
Oh.
West. Yeah, me, my brother, and my sister. The rest of our family, they're from Texas and Louisiana and all that.
And y'all know how I talk. I'm from Mississippi.
Mhm.
Never been anywhere else but a Mississippi girl.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of happy that I moved also because when I moved, it was like whoa, like I'm really stepping out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
But now that I'm here, I have been here for to be 6 years. And it don't
Yeah.
feel like 6 years, but I love Austin because everybody here was so friendly to me and they made me feel at home. I think me and you met on a job and
Yeah. And life
instantly,
works.
me, you, and Erica, we
Yeah.
instantly connected. Oh my God. And we
Yes.
connected ever since. And even when we worked at Life Work, we talked, but we never got like in depth with
Mhm.
our lives. It was kind of like hit and miss, hit and miss. But like I said, after you told me your story last week, I was like, yeah, baby, it's time for us to talk about this. It's time to heal. So what are some of the best moments of your life?
My Some of my best moments of my life, believe it or not, I would say, people might cringe at this, but I would say the best moment of my life is after my mom passed in 2016 because I became free.
And why would you say it was the best moments of your life? Because you came free?
I
I
became
mean,
free.
elaborate on free. Like, what you mean by being
I
free,
mean, I became free to be Kavana.
Savannah?
I didn't know Kavana.
Yeah.
All I was a shadow of the the conditioning of my childhood and the my surroundings. So I was always a shadow of someone else. And
Okay.
I just start when she passed, it was like I did what I need to do because I'm her eldest child, and took care of the business. And then that next year I started focusing on who Kavana is.
And like I said, I know you from how we worked, but the audience don't even know you. People don't know you. So I just want to get more into your story. So Savannah, if when you're ready and when you're just tell us what happened, like how it started. Like, just tell us what happened.
Well, it started. I can remember all the way back since I was like 3 years old. I was the firstborn of three siblings. I mean, I'm the oldest, and I have two other siblings, but I also have five other half sisters. We was all raised together in the same neighborhood. We all went to the same school, but my dad, he had another family, and I was just that child. As my grandmother would call me, my dad's mother. I met her for the first time, and when I met her, she said, "Who is this?" And my dad told her, "Oh, that's my daughter, Kavana."
How did that make you feel?
Well, I was like excited because I was getting to meet, her. And she told me, I would never forget it. She said, "Oh, you're the bastard child."
No, Kavana.
And that, yeah. So when I used to go to my half sister's house, they would beat us up, me, my brother, and my sister. I saw brand new clothes in their closets with the tag still on them. They've never worn them. Didn't have to wear. They never had to wear the same outfit twice. While we were scraping up, going to the church to get a box that had, cereal, half a beans. The
So was it
cereal
like a
didn't.
week, or was just y'all was getting? Well, y'all was getting.
We was getting every. We was getting everything. Yeah, everything, and they was. And then, like I said, going over to my dad's house, and watch him. He would beat us, and then, um, he would come in and beat us, or he beat my half sister's mom, and it's just that's all I saw. And then I would go home and tell my mom what happened,
What happened?
and she was like, "Well, that's your daddy, that's why he does what he does
So
because
she
he ain't a
kind of
good
made
person."
she kind of made excuses for him.
Yeah, but it wasn't really an excuse for him. She didn't care for him. She actually hated him, and I looked more like him. So if she hated him, she hated me.
Ooh.
So yeah, so I grew up was watching my brother and sister. I learned how to cook a full course meal between the ages of 7 and 9 years old. I was the maid. While my mom, she was either drunk or she was out with the guys or whatever. And, the different things that I used to see, the sexual assaults, the different men, and she was always drunk. So I was that person. I was that child to clean everything up.
So
I
you was
like I
kind of
said,
like Cinderella.
yeah, it
You was kind of
was.
you
It
was
was
like kind of Cinderella.
exactly. It was a Cinderella story. Yeah,
My Lord.
yeah. The growing up saying, hearing "I hate you, I can't stand you, you make me sick," and I always had a problem issue with my weight ever since I didn't. I was always
So,
skinny.
oh my God, I am
I
not going. So they telling you these things. So what did you do? Did you say anything, or you just stayed to yourself? Like, how did you
oh
cope with these things?
I I just had to deal with the best I could because in our house, there was no weak women. There was no weak females. So I need to suck it up and I need to just deal with it because that's what my life was going to be. My life didn't mean nothing. It didn't
And you
it
didn't have
didn't
nobody
have a
protect you,
voice.
nobody
Nobody.
stand up for
So
you.
I had to just do it the best way I could. It was day by day, minute by minute, hour by hour, second by second.
And you didn't have nobody standing up for you, nobody to step in and protect you. You
No,
kind of had to learn how to just do what you could do, like kind of put yourself in the shell
yeah. I mean,
or
I had
suppress everything.
Yeah, I had my grandmother was there, and she should have been my mother, and my mother should have been my sister. But
Mm.
it didn't, if my grandmother showed, and I was the favorite from my grandmother, but if my grandmother showed any kind of, likes or anything towards me, she would get the same abuse, the verbal cussing out from my mom. You know, that's not even your child. She's my child. You're my mother, and you're her grandmother, and I do whatever I please.
So with all this going on, what happened next? Like, what? How old were you when all this was going on?
Oh,
What
this is
age?
this started at 3.
3.
Mm-hmm.
You endured all this at 3.
Yeah,
And then I think you said you started cooking around when you was 7, 8,
seven.
like you
Mm-hmm.
say,
First one.
Cinderella.
Yeah, I was at that time. I learned how to cook, and I bet I burned my mother's food, or everything needs to be hot at the same time, be served. And at that time, I grew up. I was a very very smart child,
Mm-hmm.
but my life came. It started in a fight because I was 3 months premature. I was born in the back seat in my mom's shorts in the back seat at the hospital in the parking lot, and my birth certificate says place of birth automobile. So I came in, and then when they finally got me and my mom into the hospital, they put me to the side and said I wasn't going to make it because I had both my lungs had collapsed, and I was what, not barely 3 pounds. So my mom's doctor said, no, we're not, she's this one's gonna make it. And my mom's doctor, his brother was the founder of penicillin. So they drove us all the way from Palm Springs, Desert Regional Medical Center,
Yes, ma'am.
all the way to Loma Linda Hospital, and that's where I stayed. He paid for the ambulance drive and everything, and that's why I stayed for months. But never to know that coming in like that my life was gonna be even
About
more.
to change.
Yeah, it's about to change.
Wow. So after that, like what happened? Did anybody try to step in or you continue
No,
to take the abuse?
I just continue to take the abuse. Yeah,
Wonderful.
that's all I knew. It was emotional. People think that abuse is like physical is the worst
Mhm.
abuse. No, it's not, because physical is not, because those wounds eventually heal. They'll get a scab on it. You can cover them up. But when it's emotional, when it's mental,
Mental.
psychological,
Mhm.
those go down to the core, down to your soul, and you carry them everywhere you go. But so you see the shadows of those scars every single day.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, every single day. And people are like, oh, you know what? Your childhood, this and that, and we weren't allowed to go out. I was always in sports. I competed in sports. Anything to
So
stay.
they let you compete in sports, but yet still they treated you like you was nothing.
Oh yeah, we we
So how did
we
you get the funds for sports? Who funded that?
oh, the school and everything,
Oh, okay.
but we couldn't go compete when it was time to go. When it was time to go compete, even if it was at our school, because she didn't have time for that. She didn't have time for
And this
that.
is your mother.
Hmm. Hmm. Don't be bothering me with that. I don't want to hear that. You're not going. So I always have to lie all the time. I'm
So
not
where
going
was your
because
father? Where was your dad? Where
down
were
the
your other siblings?
down the street. We lived right around the corner from each other. I would see my dad pass by, and I'm walking, and he passed by, honk his horn, and wave and keep on going.
Oh, so he treated you real like an outside kid for real.
Mm. I got two gifts from my dad. The first gift, I was 13 years old. He brings over a Barbie and Ken doll. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with a doll? I'm 13 years old. I need clothes and food and things like that. And then the next time he brought me a gift, it was a 10-speed bike. And one was made for a girl and one was made for a boy. He's going to give me the one that was made for the girl. I said, no, I don't want that one. I want the one with the bar on it that's made for the boy. Since you bringing me the gift, because he's going to give that gift to my brother, and I'm going to supposed to have the one for the girl.
So it sounds like the brother was the favorite. Was your brother the favorite?
No, no, not between him and my mom. He was maybe the favorite with my dad because he think that was his son, but you know,
Wow. So when
hmm
did things start to like? Did it get better or did it get worse for you? Like, what happened?
it just never got better. It continued to get worse and continued to get worse. The abuse. I can't stand you. You ugly. No man will ever want a fat woman. Always getting punched, always getting slapped, and keep my eyes straight forward because nobody, what are you looking at? Are you looking at that man? No man is going to want no fat, ugly woman like you.
And why
Always.
was the hate so much towards you from your father and them? Because you didn't
Since,
have to be here.
since I was a little girl, age of three, age of three, I was
So
just like,
so as you became from 3 to 7, you had so much abuse. You became like the Cinderella of the house. So what happened in your teenage years?
oh, teenage years. Oh my jeez, you think that was bad then? It got worse because now by this time I am. I was always skinny into the age of 13 years old when I started junior high, and then I just started just massively picking up weight. So when it was time for school shopping, couldn't find no clothes for me, so we just grabbed any mammy made clothes and just threw it on me. And then why can't you look like your sister? Why can't you have a shape like your sister? Why? And then it was not only the abuse at home, but it was abuse at school because, I was the protector, so I used to fight my brother and my sister's battles, and so I I was very strong, but they would call me a sumo wrestler, and I wasn't even in wrestling, but they said I look like a man. So no, none of the boys that I grew up with, they didn't like me because they saw me as a guy like them. I was
But
such
that's
a
because you had to
tomboy
fight all your life, though. You
all
were
life.
battling things at home, which
Mhm.
put you in protective mode. And then it's
Mhm.
kind of like, okay, you probably feel as though if I don't protect my siblings, I'm going to get the end, the bad ending of the stick. So yeah,
How you gonna let somebody beat your brother and sister up?
exactly. And
And
then
then
now you finna get physically assaulted.
mhm. Mhm.
Wow. And that's why I tell the kids what I work with, because you know how children are. And I have to tell them, you never know what that child is facing at home. That to you here, they may have a bad attitude, but you don't know why they have that attitude. They may be standoffish for a reason. So that's why I have to tell people you have to be mindful,
Yeah.
of how you treat people, how you come at people. And
Yeah.
with you in your situation, you became a protector because it was like, okay, ain't nobody protecting me, but I'm protect others,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. Basically, that was my whole thing. Occasionally she'll tell me, don't let your light ever. Out of all my three kids, you're the most sensitive, the most caring, and you know compassionate. Don't ever let your light dim.
Mm.
And but the very person that tells me that is the very person that try to break me.
So are you the oldest, the middle, or the baby? Are you the
I'm the
oldest?
oldest.
Wow.
Hmm. And then my mom and my stepdad, they had a relationship. They met. He was 16 and she was 12 because that's when she first moved from Tyler. Her and my grandmother moved
Mhm.
to Tyler to Palm Springs, California. And then they was all at the same, belonged to the same church. And she met my stepdad. They dated until he was 18, and then he moved back to Texas to live with his grandmother because he was the oldest of 12, and my mom was the only child. So he left and he was gone for 20 years. She got married, had kids. He got married, had kids. Then he got divorced. And then, he came back to Palm Springs and he came back to get my mom. So we never knew about him. Now I knew about his brothers
Yeah.
and his nieces, because one of his nieces was my best friend at that time. And I knew about it. We never knew about him, but he always kept tabs about my mom. So he came back. They were separated 20 years, and then he came back and they got back together. And at this time, he took us out of the roach infested, no water, no gas place that we was living, and put us in some apartment that we was eating. We didn't know nothing about no brisket. We didn't know nothing about eating steak. We didn't know nothing about everything. I mean, the
He
cereal,
done, he done put you on a foreign land.
yeah, the cereal that we ate, it didn't even say cornflakes. It just say flakes. the beans that we got, it wasn't even a whole pinto bean, it was a half a bean.
Oh my
So
God.
yeah, it was because we got these stuff from the church. You know, the when the churches were handing out the boxes, the
Wow.
government churches, the government cheese
So it's
and
kind of a WIC
butter.
package.
Hmm. So we didn't know anything about that. Now, by this time, I'm 18. I graduated from high school in '88, and I lost weight. I lost it the wrong way, but I lost all that weight. So all these guys that didn't have nothing to do with me all of a sudden knew me. So, but by this time, my mind was so messed up because I was drinking. Alcoholism runs in my family. Mental
So
health
how old were you
runs.
at this time?
By this time, I was 18.
You was 18.
I
Okay.
was 18, and
And were you
but
still in the parent house still?
yes, I was still in
Okay.
my parents' house. But but now by this time, I'm so messed up in head. I didn't know if I was coming or going. So I started messing around. Start, I wasn't sexually active, but I was promiscuous.
Promiscuous.
But I wasn't sexually active. And then my stepdad, he would always look at me like the wrong way, and I'm like, because I looked so much like my mom, and he would look at me the wrong way and everything and all this stuff, and I'm like, what is going on here? And then
So did your stepdad ever try? He ever touch you inappropriately or
mm,
anything?
yeah.
Okay. What was that?
Well, he ended up sexually assaulting me.
And when was that?
I was 18.
And how did that go about? Like what happened?
I was still a virgin.
So he basically raped you.
Mm-hmm.
Where was your mother? Like where were you?
I was still under my mother's household, but I couldn't tell her.
But you couldn't tell her.
Mm-mm. And by this time, she everywhere. By this time, I remember that last straw. She was standing at the top of the stairs, and she pulled a shotgun on me, and she told me it's only one woman can be in this house, and it can't be two. And she said, so you either leave on your own or you leave in a body bag. So I left, and
So
me and
did
my
your stepfather say that you did he tell her something about you to make her do that?
mm-mm, that's how she's always. That's how she was always with me about. She either took me wherever she went, wherever she was doing, or I had to hear things, when she was sleeping around. She would take us to the hotel with her, and we have another room, but we can hear the sexual interactions in the next room with her and whatever man.
Whatever, man. So when
Mhm.
your mother kicked you out, Kavana, where did you go?
Me and my grandmother got an apartment together, and that's when I became my grandmother's caregiver at the age of 19.
Okay. So when all this was going on, your grandmother was in the picture, but
She was there. She was living. She was living there too.
your mother kicked you and the grandmother out.
No, just me. Then my grandmother decided to move.
Okay. So you and your grandmother end up together. So how did it
Hmm.
go for you?
It it went. I just like almost lost my mind. I just started running the streets. I just started drinking more just to numb everything. And I never did drugs. I tried to smoke weed, but I didn't like it because it made
Mhm.
me want to fight. But I was,
Yeah.
but I was drinking. I would go to work drunk. I would drink 24 hours a day if I could, and making I was making bad choices because I was, when you told no man will ever want you. So I had in my mind that, okay,
Don't nobody
I'm
want me.
nobody want me, but I'm gonna make you want me. I'm gonna make me want you. Ain't gonna tell me no. I'm gonna lose this weight, and I'm like, I'm the same person that y'all grew up with, but now I lost the weight, so now you see me in a different way. So I didn't know how to respond to that.
So,
So I just started, if I, you
and I
know,
get that. I promise you, I get that. I was the same way. So when you started spiraling out, spiraling, what did your grandmother say? Did your grandma try to interfere? Like,
yeah, she tried to interfere, and um, but I wasn't listening because I just all I heard is just kept playing in my mind. No man wants no fat, ugly woman. So I was just like, I'm not just not gonna be fat and ugly, and no man is not gonna not say no to me.
So are your mother and father and grandmother still alive right now?
No, my mother passed in 2016, shy of a year of us moving here to Austin.
Mhm.
My stepdad passed in 2020. He passed my I hadn't seen my dad in 20 years. He got sick and he was in the hospital. My stepsisters called me, tell me I need to come back home to Palm Springs because daddy's dying. I said, I'm not coming. I said, I'm not coming. I said, Lord forbids if that time comes and he passes, I will come to the funeral. But I'm not gonna stand there and watch him be like that because I just did that with my mom, and I'm not gonna do that again. And why am I gonna come for a man that I don't know him, he don't know me, but I will come to pay my respects when he dies.
And I know you said you became your grandmother's caregiver. When was that? When did
Oh, that started from 19 until about the last 3 years of her life. She
and what,
passed in 2011.
so you basically didn't have kind of no kind of childhood.
No childhood.
And after your grandmother deceased, what happened then? So your
I
protection gone now.
really gone. So I became extremely angry, even more angry, because I was like, um, how dare you? You leave me with these people that don't love me, don't care for me. You leave me with these people, these awful people. I was so angry at my grandmother. And I was working at the state school, State Support and Living Center in Carlsbad, Texas. And somebody, I don't remember who gave me a book. It was 90 Minutes in Heaven by Don Piper. I said, you need to read this. And once I read that, the conviction came on me. How dare I was to be so selfish to ask my grandmother to stay here when her health wasn't good and she needed to go, and God needed her back home,
Yeah,
and he required her, and I just gonna have to you know figure it out. I'm just gonna have to try to figure it out on my own, and that's all I've been doing is trying to figure it out on my own. And
so
right.
after your grandmother died, like was your mother and dad still living?
Yes, my mother and my dad were still living. My dad passed, like I said, my biological dad passed
Yeah.
in March of 20. My stepdad passed in July of 20. My sister, my baby sister that I live with, now her dad passed in September of 20. Now, all three of these men had the same connection, and that was through my mom.
So when grandmother passed away, what you do then, Kavana?
I just, um, I just lost I wouldn't say I lost my mind, but I lost whatever little that humanness of me that I had. I started getting like a hard heart towards everybody and anybody. I was not a nice person. I didn't care who you were. I was just not a nice person at all.
So when did you get to a point you was like, enough is enough? I need to say me.
Like I said, when my mom passed away in 2016, that very night,
So
when
walk us through that. Take us down that journey.
when she in October of 2016, she fell and she wasn't feeling good. She was having these bleeding issues. So she
Mhm.
got rushed to the hospital in Round Rock. But at that time, me and my son, I was just meeting my son's girlfriend.
Mhm.
And we was in San Angelo and we get a phone call and said that we need to come back to Austin because mama's in our emergency room. But I want to take
Mhm.
you back before that point.
Okay.
Before that point is that when me and my son moved here in 2015, we I want to take that back because we didn't move here in October. We moved in September, and
Mhm.
my mom and my stepdad moved in July.
Listen.
But we didn't realize, you know, the rent and stuff. So me and my son became homeless.
Oh yeah.
We was homeless. We was homeless, and we had a job. Both of us had a job, but we was homeless. We had vehicles, but we was homeless. And the strangest thing about it is that we were sleeping in the parking lots of HEB. We were sleeping in the parking lots of Walmart. At that time, I had a gym membership to Planet Fitness, and that's how we would go and take a shower and freshen up and stuff and head to work. And we had these old LG telephones that we couldn't we the service we couldn't get the hot spots and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we were separated. We were separated, me and my son, and so by this time, this was October, we just found us a place, and we was in San Angelo. I was meeting my son's I went to go pick him up, and we was meeting his girlfriend, and we got that phone call and said that we need to come back. So now let me tell you, all this time, me and my sister and me and my mom, we never had a relationship. We never had a sister relationship.
You was never close
N-
knitted.
None of that. No, because my mom, if you my enemy, if you associate with my enemy, now you're my enemy. My mom had us so brainwashed about, you know, who to talk to. That was people, my cousins and my aunts and uncles in Tyler. We weren't allowed to talk to them. They weren't allowed to talk to us. We was in total isolation, separation. Everything had to go through the connection of my mom.
And
She
it's
was,
sad because if you would have had those connections, you may not would have been homeless.
yeah.
Somebody who could have just gave you an olive branch and hey, come and stay with us until you get on your feet.
That's funny
Oh
because
my God.
we was homeless and we weren't allowed to go stay with my mom. She lived right down the street. No, I couldn't go stay with my
So
sister.
she still had this animosity towards you to the point she wouldn't
Yeah,
get you back
yeah,
your son
no,
back in the home.
no, yeah,
Wow.
ever. Mm-mm.
And how did that make you feel?
Because it made me feel awful. It made me feel like, are you serious? This is my mother, and this is your grandson, and we are here homeless, and you knew we was homeless. It's not like she didn't know. She knew we was homeless. She didn't care.
So after the passing of your mother and father, I mean, did you ever forgive? Did you ever let it go? Like, how did you move forward?
Yeah, I had to. I when the day that my mom passed, when I finally made it back home, I was crying to my friend. Her name was Jackie. She
Mm.
passed a year ago. And she was also my hairdresser, hairstylist for 17, 20 years in San Angelo. For I've known her that long. And I was crying to her and telling her, I said, I'm so sorry if this sounds awful, if this sounds like, how are you going to say that when your mom hasn't been dead 2 hours? And I said, I just took my first breath and I said, I am free.
Wow, that's deep for that.
I said, I am free. Yes. I cried over my mom's body. I was holding her hands and I told her, don't you worry. Everything's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. You raised us to the best of you best you could. But I picked myself up. I called the funeral place and told them that my mom was passed and all that. And when we finally made it home, I broke down and I said, Jesus, I'm free.
My Lord.
I'm free. I'm free now. I don't know what I'm free to, but I'm free. I'm free. And I just kept saying that. But then I didn't realize how to deal with the freedom.
Mm-hmm.
I started closing in more and more myself because I didn't know what freedom was. I didn't know what it felt like. I knew what the word and how to spell it, but I didn't know how to live it. And then in January of 2017, we all went to Shoreline Church here in North Austin, and I never looked back.
Never look back.
I never looked back. I started being more active at church and start interacting, and the associate pastor, and it became like it was a smalls group, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna join this small group, and it was a singles group, but it wasn't actually like it was labeled singles group, but everybody there was, it was different, and we was just talking about we was doing, you know, our studies and everything of what was, and one day. everybody was like, does anybody have anything to say, or need to be prayed over? And I just opened my mouth
Yes, God.
and I just let them have a little bit.
My
And
goodness.
that little bit, I literally, I'm watching everybody's face and their mouth is just like,
Because people will look at you, people look at people and never think what they have gone through
mm-hmm,
until you start talking. And when you open your mouth or you write a book, it's like, whoa.
yeah,
That's how
yeah,
you know God is there. God was with you the whole time.
the whole time because the enemy from birth, from not even my barely a first breath, was trying to take me out.
Are you facing any challenges now, or were you facing challenges? We know you said I'm free. Your mother has passed away. You saying I'm free, Lord, I'm free. But after that, was you facing any challenges? Are you still facing any challenges?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. The challenge of being, you know, being raised in a toxic, dysfunctional family, and being conditioned to think one way, to act one way, to speak one way, always in the shadow of someone else. Yeah, to just a year ago, I decided, I said, you know what? All these relationships and all these things, even with just people in general, I'm like, it just, it can't be just them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
The first time you like, okay, you in a relationship, okay, first time, okay, yeah, it's them. Second relationship, you'd be like, okay, maybe it's them. By the third relationship or whatever, no, boo, it's not them, it's you. And that's why I had to come to. It's like, I cannot continue saying it's other people's fault. I can't continue saying that it's my mom's fault. I can't continue saying that any of these things is other people's fault. I got to take accountability of what Kavana do, how
Yeah.
Kavana think. So I reached out to our senior pastor's brother, Pastor Pete, and I was talking to him, and he asked me to be on the prayer moderating team,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so excited. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
out of all the people, you just barely, I barely opened my mouth, and out of all the people, I said I would be honored, and I said, okay, Lord, you you're gonna have me to pray for other people.
Yes.
You're gonna have me to pray for other people, knowing who I am and
That's
where
the
I
thing.
came
He knew
from and
who
what
you was.
I'm carrying inside.
Yes.
But then you know what he said to me? Your story is not your story. Your story is a story, a book for somebody else.
Yes.
You might have opened the book up, but it's not for you to read. It's for someone else to read.
Mm-hmm.
It is someone else to hear that story. Because guess what? Your story is so many other people's story.
It is. And that's why I'm not about to cry. So, like you said, you was conditioned.
Conditioned,
I was conditioned.
conditioned.
But we 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 think it's okay because it's family.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, when you broke free and you looked back on it, you knew that's not right.
That's
It's
not
not
right.
right what's being done to me. And when God set you free, God knew those things were going to happen to you and I and others. And we didn't understand it then. But once you broke free and got amongst like-minded people like yourself, when God put you in a space with people who was worshiping him, and once you told your snippet of your story,
Mm-hmm.
they wanted you to come in because they wanted you to start healing.
Yeah,
Like I said, your story is your story, but it's God's glory.
yeah,
And I know you did talk about writing a book. So I feel as though, it should be written. This is the first step of talking about it. Because
mm-hmm.
how long did you go before you even just told the full story? Or you always just told snippets? Because
I
my first time hearing a snippet was
yeah.
last week. But
Mm-hmm.
just hearing the full story right now, it's kind of like, whoa.
I just started telling, to take it back a little bit, um, Pastor Pete, I asked him if he could mentor me, if he, not mentor, I would say, if he could counsel me, or does he know anyone? And he met with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I met with, he brought in Pastor Jennifer. Now I've seen Pastor Jennifer around church, and I was like, okay, so whoever he's bringing in, I'm thinking Pastor Jennifer is going to be counseling me. And she said, I know the perfect person for you. And she brought me to this young lady that, I'm telling you, a mirror image of my life was her life, a mirror image.
So
And
you end up getting the counsel.
I
Like what
ended
kind
up,
of counseling was it?
it was counseling. It was a 12 step, but she's been doing it for, I think, for the last 4 or 5 years. And they asked her, because she's been there. She's been, what that book is, that whole book, that was her. That's her life. So her life was my life. My life is her life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to the, and I we met for coffee, for tea.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, I'm ready to do this. I'm like, whatever God you want me to do, I'm ready to do this. So
Surrender.
when we started that, yes, oh my gosh, I was fighting, letting nail and tooth. I just did not want to go down that road again
Mm-hmm.
and again and again, because that's all I've been on that road. For 46 years, I've been on that road. And I said, I'm tired of this road. This road
Yeah.
be a different pavement for me. It has to be a different pavement for me. So I finally broke down. She said, I'm waiting. And I'm like, I'm waiting too. She said, whatever. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And I was getting an attitude, and I was like,
Mm.
I was like, but her whatever is like, whatever you just
Just
open,
open.
just whatever comes out.
Let your
And I
guard down.
Yeah, but I'm taking her whatever is like, whatever, chick. I don't,
Took
I
it the
don't
wrong way. Your protective mode kicked in.
yeah. And she
Yeah.
said, I'm not going nowhere. And
Right.
then I opened up, and when I opened that book, and the first page was me, and I'm like,
God,
who wrote this book?
God showed up.
And the book was dysfunctional family, living in a dysfunctional toxic family
Mm.
as an adult.
That's God.
Yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh, everything on the paper was Kavana, Kavana, Kavana. And I'm
You can
like,
relate to it.
yeah, I
Yeah,
not only could relate to it, it was me.
it was
It
you.
was my story on this paper. And I'm like, I looked and I'm like, did somebody say something? I'm like, well, how is somebody going to say something if I ain't told them?
God said something.
Yeah, God said something. He told it on the book. And I'm like, well, I was mad at God because he was telling people about it on the book.
He gonna get his glory, boo.
I was
Literally.
like, who? I was angry. Like, God, how you gonna tell them people? You don't even know them people. He said, I know
Mhm.
them. You gonna know them too.
You gonna know him too.
And,
So you say you're like 46 now. So what would you tell your younger self now that you are
well,
free and you're kind of on your healing journey now?
I just turned 53
53, I
yesterday.
like that, baby. I'll knock you down. Go ahead, boo.
53 yesterday, but it started when the healing pro the healing process for me when I became free was 46 until this present day. And every day is a struggle for me. Every day is a struggle, but this is a struggle. This is a different struggle that I'm willing to embrace. Whatever it is, whatever
Whatever.
it is, I'm willing to embrace. It's one step at a time,
So this
one
is what you would
second at
tell
a
your
time.
younger self?
My younger self is, I would say, I wouldn't say take it in stride, but I would say like there is, there truly is light at the end of that tunnel. Even though there's light in the room that can be turned on and off, but a tunnel is dark all the way down.
My Lord.
It's dark all the way down. But I promise you, sweetie, I promise you, there is a light at the end of that tunnel. And when you start, because
Mm.
light oversees darkness
Yes, it does.
all the time. And trust me, when you, the closer you get to that tunnel, the worse it's going to get for you. The worse it's going to get for you. But you got to keep moving. I felt that if I stopped, literally, I was going to die. So I didn't have no choice but to stop, but to keep moving,
Keep
because
moving.
I was on the verge of dying. Short of like my our cliff, she called, we're each other's cliff buddy, and she told me, she said, when you're right there at the cliff, you call me.
Yep.
She said, girl, the way we was conditioned, we should be in some mental institution, short of foaming at the mouth, locked away
Running
for
your
the rest
hair
of our
around
life,
your fingers.
run the fingers, because we have truly lost our mind
Mm-hmm.
from the stuff that we've seen, the stuff that we was, how we was conditioned, and how we was the whole life.
The whole lot.
But God had another purpose for you, Kavana.
He does.
His purpose is for you to live. His purpose is for you to thrive. His purpose is for you to shine
To heal.
and to heal and to bring others along with you.
Yes.
Because trust me, it's just not for women. This is just not for men. This is for another human being that's
Yes.
got red blood running through their veins.
Mm-hmm.
This is for anybody. This is for everybody. My story, my life is not for Kavana LaShawn Johnson. My story and my light is for anyone and everyone that God brings across my path. And as I'm walking this, I'm walking it with you, because every day it's a walk for us.
Yes,
Every
Lord.
single day is a walk for us. It's not going to come easy. Anything easy, nothing easy comes. Anything, what is it? Anything, anything that you want, it's not going to come easy. Everything worthwhile is not going to come easy. It's going to be a fight.
It's gonna be.
And is in how much of the fight are you invested in this fight? Because this is not a fight for just to be moving around here on this earth. This is a fight for your well-being, your mind, your state, your being, your family, your friends. This is that kind of fight. This is just not an ordinary fight. And you was built. I was built for such a thing like this. Like Esther, she was built for such a thing as
Listen, baby,
I
I'm
was
about to run.
thing as this. I came
Come
in
on,
this.
Savannah.
I was built for such a time as this. I am that Esther. I am that Ruth. I am that Deborah. I am. I was built for such a time as this. I wasn't made a mistake, even though I was told I was made a mistake, even though I was told I wasn't made, I didn't have no worth here, but I wasn't. I was made for a grand purpose,
Yes.
and not a purpose of my own, but a grand purpose. And that's what keeps me going. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's very hard, but that's what keeps me from not losing my mind.
I'm gonna took out running. Lord, my Lord.
Yes. So
You
when
don't
I,
talk right there. That was a whole word. That'll preach. That'll preach. If y'all ain't catching this, catch it. Catch it. Cause it's God.
yeah,
My
yeah.
man.
So when I tell my younger self, keep going,
Keep going.
keep moving,
Keep striving, baby.
keep loving, keep trusting, keep striding, keep, 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 keep. There's no such word in my vocabulary as I can't.
Come on now.
I'm very
You can do all things
I'm
through Christ that
yes,
strengthens
strength
you.
is you. I'm persistent, I'm tenacious, I'm fierce, I'm bold. I keep going. Keep going. I just got to keep going because you know what? When I stop, that's time for me to go home.
And speaking of going home, how would you like to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as that chick right there. That that powerhouse chick right there. Yeah, that's
My
all I can
God.
say is that powerhouse chick. She has stepped over things. She have went around things. She has bulldozed through things. But that chick right there,
That chick right there.
that powerhouse chick right there.
If you We are coming to a close. Do you
Mhm.
have any last words or any inspiration that you want to tell the people who may have experienced or may be going through the same thing you're going through? Do you have any words or inspiring words you want to tell them?
Yes, I would say talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. Find that person. And if you don't know who to find, ask God to find because He will send that person. The very least one that you suspect,
Absolutely.
He will send that person. And don't be shy about your mistakes, your errors, your flaws, your weirdness, your goofiness, or your this and that, because that's how we was, that's how we wired. God wired us this way. It ain't nothing that comes to Him by surprise. Nothing comes to him by surprise. Nothing comes across his eyes by surprise, not through his ears by surprise. Like, oh, dang, I missed that one.
Come on
Nothing,
now.
nothing comes by surprise. Find that one person and then add on to that one person.
My Lord.
Because your story is not your story to tell.
No,
It's somebody else's story to listen and to read. Bring others in. And don't try to hype it up. Tell it as raw as it is. Tell it how as fierce as it is. Be as genuine as it or you can be. Authenticity is the key.
is the key.
Authenticity is the key to being that person. I was never allowed to have a voice of my own. But this person, Kavana, I've always lived by my middle name, Sean. I didn't even use LaShawn, it was just Sean. But Kavana,
Come on, Sean.
I love this chick. This chick, you can't tell her nothing. You
Nah,
can't tell her nothing because I've been through some stuff. And I've been through some stuff that only God knows some of the stuff. Not saying I was innocent, but
mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying that I was innocent, but God brought me through to the other side. And the other side looks so much sweeter.
It does.
It looks and smells so much sweeter than anything else. And I would say, keep moving.
Keep moving.
Don't stop. And I love my haters. The more haters I have on my team, that means I'm going the right way.
You're
Now
doing your thing, bro.
when my haters stop talking about me, then that means I ain't slid back and
You
I'm
done slid
rolling with
back.
my. But I love my haters. I appreciate. I applaud them. I clap my hands because I know I'm still on the right track. That track, only God knows.
And we
When He
still
re-
love y'all. We still
when
love the haters. We
yeah,
still love our
we
enemies.
yes, we still. You
We still
got
the
to.
Judases. We love you, the Judases.
Yes, I can love you from a distance. I can love you and I can feed you like a long handle spoon. You put in my spoon, I
Mm,
cipher out what I want to hear or what I'm gonna do with, and then I take out what I want and I keep anything that's pertaining to me and elevating me. If it doesn't, then I just shift it on out
it's
and keep
all
on
out.
moving. But yes, the key point is to stay
This day.
is as close as possible as you can who you are,
Yeah.
because it doesn't matter what the other person says, who they think you are. Once you know who you are,
That's
once you
all
know
that
who you are,
and whom
not
you
the
are.
whose you are, then there's nobody can say anything to you because you have already know what the real deal is. Unless you was right there in that moment at that time with me, there's nothing you can say to me that what the enemy has not already tried to tear down on me. But when God tells you whose you are,
And whom you are.
trust me, that's whose you are.
That's
And
what,
once you get the revelation of it and the light comes on and you start cleaning house and cleaning attic, there's no going back.
it all. Honey, I am elated that you have came on tonight and you have gave us a mouthful. You have told us your story, baby. You have gave us inspiration. You don't inspire me. I almost took off running. Like, see, if this thing went in the way, girl, I probably did a whole shout. But I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I'm just speechless. Like, she told me a snippet last week, but just to actually hear, I'm hearing the whole story just like you all. So tonight has really blown my mind. And Kavana, again, I am so sorry what happened to you, but am congratulating you because you are on your healing journey. You are doing what God has called you to do. You have a purpose on your life. You
Oh
do need
yeah,
to write that book. You do need to do motivational speaking. You do need to get yourself out there. You do have a story to tell. It's your story, but it's God's glory. So I'm here to say, go do what God says do. Don't hesitate no more. This is the year of recovery. This is the year of occupancy. This is the year of go. Ask God to connect you with like-minded people and go. Ask God to give you discernment and go.
of
Because
course.
you
I
have a
mean,
story to tell. And
yeah.
I'm happy. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
Oh, thank you.
I am. And with that being said, if you all want to follow me, you see that thing down there scrolling. You see it say Linktree Hoops and Hurdles. If you want to book me for motivational speaking, go to that link that's scrolling. Also, if you have not purchased my book, The Modern Day Esther Resuscitated from Pain to Purpose, you can also go to Linktree and get that book. It's only $20. You eat $20 anyway, so you might as well go ahead and purchase the book. It's a memoir about me. It's also talking about my life, and I really had to open my platform today for Miss Kavana because Kavana has a story and it's God's glory, and we're trying to get Kavana to write her book.
Mhm.
So y'all can actually sit down and read it. You know, I heard it, but it's better when you have a copy because this is something that never goes away. So I just want to say thank everybody for tuning in to Hoops and Hurdles. Again, this is your girl Teresa with Miss Kavana.
Hi.
And we will also look out for another podcast that may is coming maybe February. So look out for that, you guys. And it's going to be a great podcast. I am so elated. It's really going to be a panel. So make sure you look out for that. Again, thank you for tuning in to Hoops and Hurdles. It's your girl, Teresa Mack. And I will see you all later. Good night.
Good night.